Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to warn you that you are going to experience an anti-climax. When you get to the end of the queue, all you're going to end up seeing is a box with a flag on it, and you're going to be disappointed. I'm just warning you, yeah? You're going to be very, very disappointed when you realise that actually what you've done didn't really make any sense, and you could have watched it all on TV.
Boo! God save the king!
God save the king! Come on, everybody! Come on!
God save the king!
God save the king!
Come on, guys!
What's the matter with you?
What's the matter with you? Please, after me. God save the king! Hooray! Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Unfortunately, I don't know if you've heard this whilst you've been in the queue. The Tooth Fairy has died. The Tooth Fairy died today, this day, the 18th of September. The Tooth Fairy died today. If you don't believe in the Tooth Fairy, please keep that to yourself. The Tooth Fairy did die today, but the good news is the Tooth King is going to replace the Tooth Fairy, and your children's £1 is now safe when they lose their milk teeth. I know £1's a bit mean considering that the Tooth King is worth trillions of pounds, but it's better than nothing, isn't it, guys? Ladies and gentlemen, whilst you're here, God save the King.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Great, thank you.
How are you? You don't need to talk to us through the megaphone.
No, it's
How's
fine.
life, all right?
Great, thank you. How are you?
Marvellous. I'm very well.
Good.
I'm very well. I'm not going to stop and tell you what to do,
Brilliant, thank you.
because we're not.
Fantastic.
All I would like to say is everybody has the right to their speech and has the right to say what they like.
Perfect.
For the last 4 days, it's been absolutely fantastic. Everybody's been in a really good mood,
Great.
and hopefully that's how it's going to stay.
Yeah,
Here,
thank
here.
you very much. Here, absolutely.
But I'm
Here.
never going to stop you saying what
Thank
you want
you.
to say.
Thank
Good,
you.
God save
Can I
the
ask
king.
you- can I just
Unless
ask
you
you-
start saying
Yeah,
derogatory
yeah, yeah.
things, and
Yeah.
we'll have another
Absolutely.
chat. won't we?
Okay.
All I would say, sir, everybody has the right to
Yes.
free speech.
Absolutely.
As
Thank
long as
you.
we- as
Thank
long
you
as
for
you-
protecting mine.
People don't overstep the
Yeah,
law.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
All I would say is we've had 4 days of a fantastic atmosphere.
Right.
Everybody's enjoying it.
Fantastic atmosphere.
Yeah,
I thought it's like a funeral.
it is.
Right.
But the atmosphere within
Yes.
the crowd that's been
Yeah.
waiting to see Her Majesty's passing,
Right.
okay, along with ourselves, it's been a fantastic atmosphere.
Right.
It's a great
Okay?
funeral.
Right.
We would just like to keep it like that.
Okay. No
Okay,
problem.
sir?
So would we.
don't want to upset anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to upset anyone.
Thanks ever so
So
much.
gee up the mood a bit.
Were you there today?
Yes, in some shape or form.
Right. Can I
you
ask
enjoy
you? Well, I wasn't here, so how was it for you? How was it?
It was great.
Yeah?
It was a lovely event for everybody.
Right.
So it felt very special.
And how's the royal family helped you personally over the
Oh.
years?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Oh.
I just know that we had a lovely day today.
Okay,
It was
fine,
a really
fine.
good event.
Lovely,
So
thank you
come
very
on.
much.
Thank you.
So did you queue to see the Queen lying in state as well, or you just?
No, we only just watched the state funeral today.
Right. And what did you make of it?
I thought it was brilliant. It was a once in a lifetime experience. You could only see it once, and there won't be. I don't think there'll ever be a big thing like that again.
Unless the king dies, of course.
Yeah, unless.
But
Yeah.
we better, if we say the national anthem enough, maybe he won't die.
Yeah.
What is the royal family or the Windsor family? What have they done for you and your family? Do you think?
Like I think they've. I mean, like obviously we're not from here, but
Where are you from?
Cumbria. So they haven't done the most, but obviously for the UK they've done a massive part for.
What have they done for the UK?
Like just helped it out a lot.
Tourism.
Yeah.
Tourism. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. So it's just a kind of bit of a show.
Yeah.
I would say it's a show as such. I think it's an important part of our history,
Right.
our tradition.
Right. What do you feel that the Windsor family have done anything for you and your family?
I think as again, like I said earlier, history, tradition. I think it's an important part of the British way of life.
Did you attend the funeral today?
Yes, we did.
Yes. How was it?
It was lovely. Yeah,
Yeah?
really glad we made the effort.
Right. And you're from the UK, right?
Yes, we are.
And what would you say the Windsor family have done for you over the years?
Personally, nothing, but I just think she's set a really good example, and she's just made us very proud of our country.
Right.
And she just keeps us all together.
Right. Great.
Unified.
Thank you.
What has Elizabeth actually done for you? You over there. What has Elizabeth done for you? Okay, giving me the finger there. A bit of a difficult question, I know, when you probably realise that she's done nothing at all for you.
She united us in grief.
Did you attend the funeral today?
Yes, we did.
Yes, how was it?
We saw the procession right after the funeral, and
Right.
it was remarkable.
Right.
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
Right. Okay, where are you from, guys?
Ohio.
Right,
the
you came to London especially for
Just for this.
Yes.
this, right? And what has the Windsor family done for you guys?
Just the respect and honor that one individual has given her whole lifetime
Right,
to her country.
right,
You don't find that ever.
right,
And it's just truly amazing what she has done for her country.
right,
Yeah. Since the age of 26, she's had to, her entire life she's given up privacy for, the United Kingdom, and to see her devote that entire life to service is not something that really anyone would do, but she understood that it was her duty. And
Right.
you could see in the millions of people that have been through London over the last week and a half that she was appreciated by many.
okay. Just one last thing. Some of the people in the UK who are less vocal about this kind of question the idea of any one family having billions or trillions of dollars or pounds worth of stuff, whilst there are billions of people who have nothing. How do you feel about that?
Well, movie stars have millions. Elon Musk has billions.
Yeah,
The Chinese have. Who's to say
right,
what you should or shouldn't have?
Yeah,
Right.
who's to judge
And
someone?
who's to judge someone else?
right. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful
So here's my question for you media guys. Why aren't you asking any decent questions? Eh? Where are you? You're all paid off by them lot, aren't you? You're all just doing it, you want to toe the line. You don't ask any questions. Like, why don't you ask the nation how they feel about the fact that the Windsor family, they're inheriting £672 million worth of dosh and stuff and properties, right? And that's the stuff we know about. How come they don't have to pay inheritance tax? Yet when my granny dies, I have to share her house with my 14 siblings, and I have to sell it off just to pay my 40% inheritance tax. What happened to that? How do they feel about that? Why aren't you asking why it is? I've got nothing against, by the way, any of the members of the royal family, so-called royal family. They're not royal to me, they're just people. I've got nothing against them because I've got no reason to believe that if I was brought up just like them, I wouldn't be exactly the same, including Andrew. I've got no reason to believe if I was brought up entitled, I'd end up any different to Andrew if I was in his situation. What I question is, with you media lot, why aren't you asking a few questions about the whole institution, about the whole system, about the idea that one person can have trillions of pounds worth of stuff and 1 billion people can not have a pot to piss in? Why aren't you asking that? Eh? Why aren't you asking about where they got their entitlement from? I mean, what exactly is Charles, what's he good at? Is he got there by merit, or has he got there because he came out of some particular woman's womb? Right, and if so, what's that all about? Why aren't you asking any of those questions? You're not asking any of those, are you? Because you're all under the same thumb, the same bloody people. Because they've got shares in all the big companies, and what's it called? What's that place called? What's the big...
Vanguard,
BlackRock and Vanguard. We don't know who owns those shares in Vanguard, but I'm sure those guys over there got a few bob in there. And so they own you guys, and then you don't ask any decent questions. Why aren't you asking any questions about what the corporations are up to? Why are you all exactly the same? You're all saying exactly the same things. You're not asking any decent questions. What's happened to you guys? You've all sold out. A lot of you. You sold out. I don't blame you either, because if I was born in your situation and I needed to make a living, I'd probably also sell out. And I don't blame the people queuing up to see, you know, I don't exactly know why you're here. I must warn you, by the way, that there is a possibility you're going to experience an anti-climax after all this. Do you know what I mean? Queuing up for a bunch of hours and then just seeing a box with a flag on it, and you could have watched it on telly. You might be a bit disappointed when you realise that it really was a bit of a pointless exercise. Hello? Fair enough. By the way, feel free to put up your middle finger if you feel that's appropriate. Not everybody can do that, because not everybody's got a middle finger, but most people have.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I'm from the Israeli television. I'm coming from Israel.
ישראלי, מה נשמע?
How are you doing?
מה הולך כאן?
אתה יודע
מה אתם
עברית?
חושבים? כן, בטח. מה אתם חושבים על העניין הזה?
איך אתה יודע עברית?
למדתי הרבה שנים בישראל.
כן?
כן.
אתה כאילו גרת בישראל?
כן, גרתי בישראל. 3 שנים.
ומה אתה עושה?
Speak in English.
What do you do? What do you do for a living? Like, what do
For
you
a living? I breathe for a living.
Yeah, I know. But
I answer questions in an obtuse way. So this is what I do for fun, a hobby. I have a hobby of creating cognitive dissonance in public spaces to question the narrative.
what do you do in your regular job? I mean, what kind of field do you?
I'm in the music business.
Oh, you're in the music business.
Yeah.
What's your name, sir?
Danny.
Danny.
So, have you been involved at all? Have you been queuing, or did you watch the funeral, or
I was working today.
you're working? Great. What
So-
did you do? Do you mind my asking?
I work in sales and events,
Right,
so
okay.
our bars are open. I work in head office.
Right.
So we were like probably the only company I know that was still working today.
Okay.
But we had it on in the background.
Oh, okay, fine. Is the idea of a king and a queen, is that actually real, or is it just some myth?
That's a hard one. What do you think?
Well, I mean, they exist, don't they? But I don't know how relevant the whole...
I mean, they exist as
Concept.
humans,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the idea of someone having, trillions of pounds worth of money and property and ruling over 70 million people without their consent, is that real, or is that just some
well,
kind of
that's the thing.
story?
I've never felt like I've been ruled. So,
Right.
yeah, I suppose not. And, yeah, all the money is pretty difficult to swallow. Given the situation.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty difficult though, because ultimately, like, I guess the big argument is, they bring loads of tourism to the UK.
Do they bring tourism?
Or they bring a lot of people who want to be educated in the UK. They bring a lot of money. They have a lot of people who want to move to the UK because there's some form of, okay, if we study or we live in the UK, it gives us some form of, I don't know, like a higher sense of being.
Does it?
I don't think it does, but I think culturally...
this idea about tourism, by the way,
Yeah.
I even question that, because, like,
100%.
do you know anybody that only comes here because there's a king or a queen? I mean, when you go on holiday, do you choose places where they've got a king or a queen, or is that completely irrelevant?
But maybe it's the remnants of colonialism. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
There are a lot of places in the world that are so influenced by the UK, and there's so many places in the world that no longer have a monarchy. So it's almost, I guess it's like, we don't have that, so let's go do this thing.
Right.
And it's like when people are in this country, it's like, okay, well, we'll go do this because we've never seen it before. But I mean, oddly enough, I started watching The Crown like 2 days before the Queen died, and I was like, shit, okay. I was like, wow, amazing. I think a lot of people don't understand that she is a human being, and she had a job to do. So a lot of the things that they rally against her, that was put upon her because of the laws of our country, because of the laws of our government, and she didn't really have a choice in it. She could have abdicated fine, but the reason
Right.
she's a queen is because of her own uncle abdicating and then her father taking on, and she was never meant to be a queen or a princess really. So there's a lot of history that people aren't understanding, but I don't really think that, this whole entire day there was a whole plethora of people who didn't have access to food banks, who didn't have access to their work, who didn't have access to travel, hospitals, anything. And like, I was talking to my mum about it, and she was like, I'm ruling that this has happened, and I'm pretty sure that the Queen will be ruling that this happened, because as much as she wasn't allowed to say much, in her absence of saying anything, he did a lot of power. Like, when I think about the fact that she was a female monarch in the 50s, and just like, isn't there that thing where she went and drove around Saudi Arabian prince or someone in the and she drove him around, even though that's outlawed in their country. And there's a lot of subtle things that she did, which is a big like fuck you to the patriarchy, and people don't really understand those nuances, or they haven't gone into those nuances, and it's really, really difficult to say. You know, like I also understand that she didn't have anybody who was, you know, not white working in the palace. You know, like fucking hell, that's fucking awful. But were they her rules, or were they the rules that have been bestowed upon her? You know, but ultimately, it's going to be the end of an era, and now we have to have a bunch of men fighting for power. And like, that's, you know, is there going to be another female monarch in our lifetime? Probably not. And that's what sucks.
Well, there's always Camilla, isn't there?
There's always Meghan. I'm hoping that Charles abdicates, Will is like, no thank you, and then Prince Harry's like, fine, and then Queen Meghan Markle.
You'd like that?
I'd love it.
Interesting. One last thing is that what has the Windsor family done for you over the years? Have they helped you at all?
I read Adrian Mole, aged 13 3/4, and that's how I learned about Princess Diana, so good content for literature, I guess.
Right. Thank you. Either of you either queue up or go to the funeral?
No, not today. I did go to the procession on Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah, I saw the passing of the coffin for the Wednesday.
Right.
But the queue for the actual
lying in state.
Lying in state, and today I did try today, but actually I was too late.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, what has the Queen done, and what has the Windsor family done for you over the years? Have they helped you at all?
I would say
we discussed this earlier.
We have. We've been having a little discussion.
I think she brings discipline into your life.
Does she?
Yeah.
You in your life?
In my life, yeah. I think
what discipline has she brought into your life?
Well, she gives you an organised lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? Right. And you respect the Queen, and you know you're not to do this and you're not to do that.
Right.
And ultimately, that brings some kind of solace to your life. You know what I mean? You know, as opposed to some of these countries which are running riot, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
You think she keeps an eye on that, right? Okay, and the other thing is the idea of a royal family, a queen, a king, is that actually real, or is it some kind of myth?
I think it's a dated institution, and they haven't got out of it. And they don't. Such likes as King Charles today, he doesn't know any different. As educated as he is, he doesn't know any different, and that's all he knows. As the younger generation, that's all they know.
Right.
That's the way I see it. I think it's a dated institution, leave it at that, yeah. Okay. I think if we were in a new country or something, you wouldn't have it now, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Great, thank you very much.
So, hello, Danny what?
Danny Shine, nice to meet you.
Danny Shine.
Yeah.
Moab. What is your explanation as for the fact that so many people here in Britain feel so deeply, something emotional to the Queen? I mean, that's a fact.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really, really good question, and I mean, in order for me to answer it, I'd have to really think about it. But off the top of my head, firstly, I think that's because I do think symbols and ritual are important, yeah, and I think that there's so little of it around in our society anymore that they hang on to everything that they can, and I also think that the so-called royal family have spent a lot of money on public relations. This whole thing is just a whole show, right? And so it's a public relations that's it's being pumped into their consciousness the whole time, all over the mainstream media, which, and most of them have got no idea that they're being messed with, right? So that's why I think this is going on, yeah. But and what they don't, and the thing is that the mainstream media, I don't know if you're part of it, but the mainstream media are not asking the questions. Like, for example, I think it's £652 million, the inheritance, and that's just what we know about. Right, I'm sure it's much more than that. Yeah, how come they don't have to pay inheritance tax?
Danny, so why did you come here to express these opinions?
Well, because I have a lot of questions about mainstream narratives of many things, and this is one of them. So I have a question about what kind of people I don't have a problem with the actual human beings. So the Queen, Prince Charles, Prince Andrew even, I don't really have a problem with them as people, because I have to assume that if I was brought up like them, I would be exactly the same as them, including Prince Andrew and all the stuff he gets up to, right? So I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the institutions that create that kind of thing, right? So for example, tomorrow, thousands of doctors and nurses are going to be taking off work to watch a funeral that they could easily watch on Zoom, yeah? We were told a couple of years ago we're not allowed to go and see our grandmas because we might cause someone to die, but them going to the funeral is completely unnecessary. They don't know the woman, and they're going to go to her funeral and they could watch it on Zoom or watch it after work, and the thousands of people in this country are going to have their appointments and their surgeries cancelled. That's just one example, right?
But maybe there is a significance for symbols, for something that is beyond the everyday life, right? I mean,
how come that is the case when we're in dire straits, when there are people, you know, a third of the country are not going to be able to afford their heating bills, and meanwhile we've got all this pop going?
Because maybe the thing is that you judge it, that you judge the situation in very practical manners, you know, very practical parameters. While for many people, it's beyond that. They are willing to pay taxes or whatever in order to have something that gives them the sense of something stable, something solid, something that you know, like a rock solid thing that
there's
makes
nothing
them
rock
feel
solid
safe.
about it. It's all ephemeral.
What's solid? What is solid about these people? What have they actually done? What has the Queen done for all these people? What is the so-called? I mean, I don't want to call it the Queen because that's just, for me, that's just a fairy tale. I mean, you're from Israel. Yeah, you're not so involved in this particular argument. Therefore, you think Queen, but the Queen. Israelis don't take the Queen seriously. Most of them, I would assume, right? So, you know, what have they done for the people? Tell me, what have they actually done other than provide them with some illusion of stability? What is that nonsense? The world is.
So what the thing is about people are stupid? They're not.
Of course they are. People are stupid as hell, right? And people are by design stupid because they're sent to special institutions that are designed to make them stupid. They're called schools, right? And then they're fed social media, which is that the algorithms are designed to make people stupid. It's not artificial intelligence, it's artificial stupidity. So if you take the average person, they're so stupid, and then you think how stupid half of the population are even more stupid than the average person, of course.
I can feel that you are very emotional about it. Why are you angry about it? What does it make you? Why does it make you so angry? No, really.
I wouldn't call it anger. It's kind of a bit of anger, a bit of passion. I guess part of me has has compassion for people, watching them being played, right, by the media, being played by the system. Basically, the whole idea of a queen and people having trillions of pounds, and all the people that mix with them, they're all billionaires and they're all corrupt as hell, and they're destroying the world. And Prince Charles, if he cared about the environment, why didn't he get his children to stop having children? Because that's the real cause of all the problems. Yeah. Why did he fly to Davos in his private jet? Right? He doesn't care about the environment. He just cares about us not using any electricity and energy, so he can carry on with his private jet and his yacht. Do you know how much it costs to pay for the petrol of a yacht? Yeah, it's like $10,000 per 3 kilometers. $10,000. Yeah, in just wasted. These guys, they've all got yachts. Come on, give me a break. And so I guess I feel, that we're all being taken for a ride, and these people are just all part of the problem.
How many are there? How many like you there are in Britain?
Well, I like to think not many, because
no. I mean,
I know.
Do you represent a very, very tiny minority, or there are like fairly amount of people that think the same?
I think there are a significant number of people that think the same, yeah? But there's so little space for expressing it nowadays. And because the social media algorithms are worked in such a way that we're put into bubbles, so most people don't even get to hear anything else. Everything's coming at you. Yeah, think about it, right? The Queen is all there. Boom, boom, boom. She's wonderful. She's amazing. It's very, very difficult to oppose that in public because people just get really like.
We in Israel we have a president, right?
Yes.
And he is getting. I mean, in Israel, we have a president.
Yes.
In this like kind of representative role, and he can serve for 7 years maximum. He cannot be re-elected, and then the parliament, another one being elected for president.
Yes.
The point here in Britain, with a monarchy, is that you have someone from father to son to daughter to mother, that it keeps the same person in the position, and it makes some kind of continuity that in Israel or in any other country it doesn't happen. And the continuity might have strength, might have significance.
Do you want that then?
Right. I mean, I don't really understand what you mean by continuity. Continuity of what?
Someone who is here in good and in bad. In good times, in bad times, he has a perspective. He is kind of the grandmother of the company, of the nation. She serves the nation.
What way? What way has she served me? What way has she served all the other people? In what way? What, having lunches with the King of Saudi Arabia? Is that serving me? I don't think so. I mean, I just don't understand in what way if this is all just a show. Come on. You can't take this seriously. You've got a brain. This is just a show. Just to keep the people, under nice control whilst everything falls apart, whilst the rich get richer and the poor get poorer and they can't pay their bills. Yeah, let's distract them and let them queue for a few hours to see them.
But maybe you're ignoring the human need for symbols, for kind of father role model.
You're right. I'm sure that there is a need for that, and that's why when I started. I think I said it. I don't know if I said it before I got the mic, but when I started, I said that because for whatever reason, our modern society has sort of moved away from these symbols. The only symbols we have in modern society is bloody corporations and their stupid symbols, right? So yes, they might be crying out for this, but really, is this the best we can do in giving people symbols? Is this the best we can do in rituals? I can think of many, many rituals which are much better than this, right? This is just, what is this? It's so shallow, it's so devoid of meaning, it's so like fake. It's so fake because of what's going on underneath, and no one's asking these questions. No one's asking the question about the environment. No one's asking the question about mass surveillance that is upon us. No one's challenging these corporations and all the damage so many corporations are doing, from the food industry to the pharmaceutical industry, the alcohol industry, the oil industry, and all the corruption and madness. No one's asking that because they're all part of it. They don't challenge it. The Queen hasn't. When did the Queen last challenge some of the hegemony and the misbehaviour of major corporations? Google, for example. Yeah, the crimes that Google create. Is stalking upon all of us. It's just madness. The level of crime that these, the food industry, McDonald's, killing people left, right, and centre. When does the Queen ever speak about that? Nothing. She'd just be having a cup of tea with the president here and there. What?
Do you get reactions in a kind of a hostile way?
Of course.
Give an example.
Well, I mean, someone, once took my megaphone and smashed it, right? Yeah, I mean, it depends on how belligerent I'm feeling at the time, and like today, for example, I'm trying to, be a bit kind to the people because as I said before, I don't, just like if I'd have been born in the Queen's family, I'd be like the Queen, or I'd be like Charles, right? And if I'd have been born in their family, in their situation, I'd probably be in the queue. So I'm trying to be kind to them. I don't have anything against them in particular, and just trying to sort of get people to think a little bit outside the box.
Danny, thank you so much.
Thank you. What channel are you a part of?
Channel 11 in the public.
Oh.
It's a bit Israeli BBC.
Oh, okay.
Danny.